Welcome to Mental Mettle Coaching, where our mission is to help you learn to thrive in the face of adversity, not just survive it. We are passionate about empowering you to live, play, and work with a resilient and spirited mindset. Hi, I'm Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF professional coach and keynote speaker. My background as an athlete, basketball coach, teacher, and school administrator has equipped me with the insights that resonate deeply with the schools, teams, athletes, and coaches I work with. However, it's my personal journey through anxiety, cancer, and an ischemic stroke in 2020 that truly brings authenticity to my presentations. While learning to speak and write again, I also pursued and earned my ICF coaching certification. Now the practices I embrace are more than theoretical concepts. They're a way of life. Developing a positive mindset is within reach for all, but it requires self-awareness and the repetition of intentional activities. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we'll guide you, your staff, and your students on this transformative journey. Together, let's forge your mettle. This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission to help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. Welcome back, Metalheads. It's the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and thanks for joining me. Just a couple comments lately about just the growth of the business, and what I think the podcast has to do with that. I think that I put this podcast together, just not really sure what to do with it, but I knew it would help with credibility. It would help me connect with people, and also put out this message about mental toughness and how useful it is and how we can use that, understand that can be developed, and it's something that we ought to be trying to do as a sports culture. And that has been, it's just been phenomenal. I've met so many people, made so many connections, and I've learned a lot. I told a guest the other day that I learned something from every guest that I have, and it's a big deal for me because I love to learn and always picking stuff up. And I just, thanks to all of you that are regular listeners, even if it's not every episode. Thanks for listening, tuning in, and just helping the program grow and making it worthwhile for me to put it out there and use it as again, those things is to make connections and to grow my business. And it's one of those things, it's really hard to quantify or even qualify like how all these things are connected and how the podcast helps with the business and when I go to speak at schools or when I get gigs to work with athletes of all ages. And it's hard to know exactly what caused it, but with the success of the podcast and the growth of it and just how many people are sharing and commenting, it obviously it helps, and it's a huge growth piece for me. So that's it. Just continue to support the show, share the show, like the comments, all these things. It means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. And if you listen to the show, you know that I have a couple different types of guests. I talk to a lot of coaches that I think that do things the right way and are really worried about the mental health of kids and not just winning games and really being very intentional on how to do that. And I have a lot of guests on there that do that. I talk to people that have been through some serious situations and have learned how to develop their own mettle and their own mental toughness and how to use that and how to build that and where they see that. And I talk to a lot of people about faith and all these things. And I have a lot of different types of guests. And my guest today is one that I do a few of these, and I really enjoy when I have them. It's former athletes that were really successful in their sport, and now are just, out in the real world working like the rest of us. And I love for them to look back, because we say this all the time, as coaches and as, athletic directors and parents, that would like, one of the goals of athletics is to help them prepare for life. And we want to make, coaches say all the time, I'm not trying to build basketball players. I'm trying to build good men and women that can go on to be husbands, fathers, mothers, all these things, right? And we want to say that, and we want them to have these people become good employees and be useful members of society. Well, I think it's good to go and talk to somebody who's in that role now, but not so far removed that they can't see the connection and be like, wow, I know that this really helped me. And that's what I've got today. My guest today, her name is Maya Lambert, and she's a former Purdue University soccer player. She was a defender and team captain for the Boilermakers back from 2017 through 21, played through the COVID, got an extra year. And during her time there at Purdue, she kind of came in and she started every game for 4 years, and helped soccer at Purdue kind of start to grow back into I think they struggled before she got there, and she helped them grow into a bigger program and just be a better, more successful program. She was at least once was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, and was an academic all Big Ten student athlete. And one of the cool things we're going to talk about is her overcoming an injury, a pretty serious injury, and getting back at it and playing, because I think that is something that's always worth talking about. And a lot of athletes experience injuries, and then it's a struggle to get back into it and be mentally prepared to do that. And I think her story is really cool. And then one of the cool things about Maya is just because of the way things worked with COVID and everything else, she got a break in between when she finished school and when she was supposed to start her job as an accountant. And she had several months, like from the beginning of the year, and didn't have until October. And she didn't have anything to do, and rather than just kind of do nothing, she went and played professional soccer in Kazakhstan. Easy for me to say. And that, anybody who has been over and you've seen, like, doing that and making that decision, you'll be like, well, yeah, you get a chance to go play professional soccer. Why wouldn't you do that? Well, it's not what you think whenever you go over to these Eastern European countries. It's far from glamorous, and it's very difficult. You don't speak the language. And that told me a lot about her, that she wanted to go do that when she didn't need to. And just the story of how it shaped her is really kind of cool. So jump into the episode here. I'll catch you on the backside, but just enjoy this conversation with Maya Lambert, of former Purdue Boilermaker soccer player. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport, and they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. Right?
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about your background leading up to and being a captain at Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely. So I played for Sockers FC, which was a club outside of Chicago in Schaumburg, if anyone's familiar with the area. But around 6th or 7th grade is when I decided I wanted to give it a shot to play in college. So really only focused on one sport starting around then, and traveled almost all of my weekends. I don't know if I ever went to a full week of high school, honestly, which is crazy to say. But then starting our sophomore year, it was before the new NCAA rules were in place. So I started getting recruiting letters pretty early. And March of sophomore year, I decided to commit to Purdue. And one of the reasons there was I play center defender, and Purdue was one of the only schools who still gave me the chance to play for a Power Five D1 school, and said I wasn't too short to play center back, and really just didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I didn't even have my driver's license yet when I committed, so figured pick a big school and major in whatever I want to major in if I figured out the next 2 years. So that was kind of what was going through my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the Purdue campus, like I don't know if you need, like, you probably couldn't have a driver's license didn't matter anyway because you're getting
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a big campus, man. There's a lot of it's a big university.
Yeah, it is. And I had a really strong engineering school, business school, could go pre-health sciences if I wanted to, pre-med, pre-law. So also a school that my parents could come and watch every game I played in, which was really important to me.
Yeah.
So had their support a lot, and kind of worked my way up from there. I got on campus freshman year, ended up starting and playing every single game. I think I played the entire game, or the entire game minutes, but two. And then year after year, just kept building, and going into my senior year, I was selected as a team captain, and then I stayed for my 5th year because of COVID and was a repeat team captain.
So you have a situation where they're the only Power Five that lets you play center back because you're not tall enough, but yet you go there and you do really well.
Yeah, I think, and it's hard too when you're only 16. You don't usually, in Louisville, you're kind of done growing around them, but you never really know. And then you never know when you step on campus because you're such a different player at 15 and 16 than you are at 18 through 21. So it's all really a guessing game. And, Purdue was one of the schools that said, hey, we'd love to have you as a center back. We don't need to change you right now to an outside back or a center mid before you get on campus. So I was really glad that they took the chance on me.
Yeah. Is that the position you played then in college?
I played center back and center mid.
Okay. So it's interesting there when you commit to a D1 and Purdue before you're even 16. How do you stay motivated then? You got 2.5 years of playing left that you still don't have accomplished things. Is that a struggle or something you fought that you did well with? Or
it was nice. I would say my club team, I think all of us but two, so probably 23 out of 25 of us were committed to D1 programs. So we still played together. I was able to play high school my freshman year and my senior year, which was super fun and kind of a break from the competitive club soccer environment. So really just having my friends, and my club teammates were my best friends as well. Just always showing up to practice and motivating each other. Some of my friends on my club team actually played with me in college too. So we always had a nice community around us just to keep us motivated.
So why soccer? You say you decided you wanted to start doing that in 6th or 7th grade. That's fairly young. What was it about soccer what led you there? Why was that the thing?
Honestly, that's a great question. I have no idea. I played soccer and a little bit of basketball, and if I was already not growing, may as well just shoot basketball out the way.
I guess, yeah.
So, I think I was just good at it, honestly. It just made sense to me. I enjoyed it. My parents put me in every single sport when I was younger, but that was really the only one that stuck.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So I want to get into, you've talked about, if we're listening to your story right now, you get recruited early, you get signed early, you go to Purdue, everything's gravy, you do well, but it's not all gravy, right? Like you have a pretty serious, and I think this is the Mental Mettle Podcast. We talk about mentality, and anytime we want to talk about mentality, we have to talk about adversity. And one of the big adversities that kids struggle to recover from and deal with a lot of times is injury. And you have a very specific injury, and I want to dive into that story.
Absolutely. It's a long one now.
and that's it's good because I want to hear that.
Yeah. So honestly, I was able to play high school soccer my senior year, which usually hasn't been allowed in club because they're like, lots of injuries, not as competitive, all of this stuff. But I wanted to have the chance to play with my friends. So I did, and I went to block a shot and the ball hit the outside of my foot, which caused it to bend in a little bit. And I thought, oh, it's just a strain. It's okay. Had x-rays. Nothing was wrong.
Well, it has to
It
happen all the time, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah,
it's a little bit,
exactly.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get to Purdue, and this is a few weeks later, I believe, maybe a month or so later. And they were like, we're just not going to have you run or do anything on it. Like, we're just going to save you. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I probably won't play at all next year. I'm not doing the conditioning. I came here early in the summer to get to know the team, get to start practicing, not able to do anything that I thought I was going to be able to do. And they took me to all of the ankle doctors and specialists, and there was never really an answer of what was going on. So I was
did it just like keep getting worse or what?
Yeah, they shut me down fully over the summer. So I was doing like upper body weights, and that was it. I wasn't playing, I wasn't running. I was able to bike a little bit. And then we got to about a week or two before preseason, and then they started letting me do everything. I was like, okay, you know what? I feel okay. I don't feel horrible. I don't feel great, but I'm all right. I noticed I couldn't kick the ball as far as I normally could, or things like that. Like running, I could still run 100%, but it just didn't feel right. And then after practice, it hurt a lot. It'd be really sore. So I was like, something else is going on here, but didn't have any answers. And I ended up playing my entire freshman year. Played and started in every single game. We led our team to the first Big Ten tournament, I think in 8 years or something like that. So it was a really great season. We had an awesome senior class that really helped lead us there. And then right after preseason, I met with the ankle surgeon, who's also the Colts surgeon. And he kind of showed me my MRI results, my x-ray results, figures out that when I had the deflection, my two bones hit together, causing a piece to chip off and sit on top of my foot where all your tendons run over. So that's been aggravating the tendons. And then I had, tarsal tunnel as well. So they were like, all right, here's what's going on, and surgery's next week. Yeah.
Okay. So tarsal tunnel, kind of like carpal tunnel, but tarsal tunnel.
Exactly.
You don't hear that, right? I guess people use their wrists a lot more than they use their ankles.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the surgery. That's not the end of it. That's nowhere close to the end of it. Keep going.
No, that's not. So I had the surgery, and I was told, like 6 weeks, you'll be on crutches for a week, start running in 3.
And remind me, when is this?
This is January of 2018. So my freshman year, spring semester.
Okay. After the season was over.
After the season's over.
Gotcha. Okay.
So in my mind, I'll miss, the first half of spring season, which is fine. And, mostly conditioning. So I'm like, I'm not even that mad to miss it at this point. So I get the surgery, and I've never had surgery before. I've never really broken a bone. It was really my first injury, which I've been lucky enough to have that happen that way. But I go home after, just to the suburbs of Chicago for a week to hang out with my family, and my foot's just burning all night. It's like, that's probably normal. I had surgery. It's going to hurt. And it's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I get back to school. I noticed I was really struggling to sleep as well, just because it was in so much pain, and like little needles were pricking me and just burning. And it's like, well, the nerve block must be wearing off that they had, and something like that. I didn't really know. Had no medical background. Had no idea.
The nerve block only lasts like 12 hours, but you're worried that you don't know. You don't know that, right?
Sure. Right. I was like, it just hurts. That's normal. It's got to hurt. It's surgery. It wouldn't feel great. So I have like my first meeting with the doctor after, and he takes off all the casting, and even the thought of him touching my foot like sent me through the roof, and nobody knew why. I think everyone thought at first, even I thought, I was like, I'm being so dramatic. Like, this is so embarrassing, but could not put a sock on, could not put a shoe on, nothing like that. And it was just swelling so big and was so red. Everyone thought it was an infection, and we just let it be for another week. We're like, oh, still my first surgery, don't know what to expect. And then we got to week 2, and that's when everything kind of started turning. So at that point, I hadn't slept the entire time, basically, since I had surgery. So I was getting a little agitated and exhausted. And they end up taking me to the emergency room in Indianapolis. My dad comes down, grabs me, takes me out there where we see the surgeon and pain management specialist. And that's the first time they throw out something called CRPS, or complex regional pain syndrome. And so all they do first
say that again. That's way too quick.
Complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
All right.
And so all they do is hand me like a pamphlet on it at first. And I'm like, and the first thing it says is not curable. And I'm like, uh-oh, like, what does that mean? I can't put a sock on. I can't move. Like, I'm going to be like this forever. And so then it started a whole new thing. I was hospitalized for a week. I was on a lidocaine drip. So I was in the cardiac care unit and also had, I think, like ketamine infusions and a lot. I was on a Dilaudid drip for 2 weeks, which I don't know
you
if
were sleeping in, weren't you?
but I was asleep the entire time. So
I was going to say.
at the end of that.
Yeah.
But luckily, after I was put in contact with a great doctor at Rush out of Chicago, and we had a long way to go after that. I had 8 or 9 spinal cord shots, which actually just shut off the feelings to your legs. And that's when we would do all of my physical therapy. So make sure that my range of motion was staying constant, because one thing CRPS causes is all of your muscles and your tendons just be rigid since it's painful to move. So we had a lot of that. And then it's getting better, but still not fully better. So I ended up getting a continuous epidural in my spinal cord for 8 weeks, and basically had to carry around a little.
How do you do that? You got to carry around.
So at first they told me, they're like, oh, you know, it'd be just like you have diabetes, just a little tracker.
No.
Diabetes. No.
It's that. No, you've got a needle in your spine, Maya. That's not. There's nothing normal about that.
No. So, but I'm thinking in my mind, they told me, you know, it's like diabetes. I'm like, oh, my friends have the little things. Like, no problem. It was a full saline bag that I had to carry around and was like tied up. And that's like my freshman year of college too. So, you know, you're really finding yourself at college. And I'm like, here I am walking around with a bag tied to me. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, Maya. Maya's she's the chick with the bag. Oh yeah, I know Maya.
Yeah, my coach called me Dora one time because I did look like I was Dora. I had a backpack on.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So it was.
That's got to be. Did they tell you you got to be real careful? You have a needle in your spine.
Yeah, I had pills 4 times a day just because of the risk of meningitis, and then once a week I had to drive back to Chicago and get it cleaned out and everything like that, just to make sure there's no risk of infection. So it was crazy. It was a crazy time.
Now, this whole time, are you being told you're probably not playing soccer again?
Yeah, so right when that happened, one of the doctors was like, you need to drop out of school immediately, you won't be able to do school. And then they told my parents, they didn't tell me this, but they're like, I don't know if she'll ever walk again. Like, this isn't curable. We don't know what's going to happen. And my parents told me that after the fact, but I was like, there's no way. Like, oh, I didn't realize it was this serious at all.
So what caused it? Did the surgery cause it?
We don't know. So there's no way to know. Sometimes it just happens. Usually it happens when someone's in a car accident sitting in the front seat and their feet are up on the dash and breaks every single bone and just all the nerves are rearranged.
And you kicked the soccer ball. In my case, you kicked the soccer ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people just walk up the stairs and twist their ankle funny and get it. So I don't know if nobody knows, at least to my knowledge, but
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So before we get to you getting past this, what's your mindset? What's your mental state during this? It can't be great.
No. And especially being on crutches is maybe the worst, especially in winter at school when I'm still trying to go to class or still trying to get around, and then planning the time to get back to Chicago once a week for the 8 weeks. And still, I went to a part-time student, so I did drop some of my classes just because I was like, I can't be in full classes and still do this amount of travel and get from building to building on my campus within 10 minutes. It just wasn't going to happen. But I was more so just worried that the pain would never go away since it's not curable. So I think that was a thought in my head the whole time. It's like, I can't even put a sock on. I can't put any weight on my foot. Is it going to spread? Because that's another thing that happens. Like, it can spread to all of your limbs or throughout your entire body and your organs. So some people are just in full total body pain and things like that. So I think my entire mindset, it wasn't even on sports or athletics anymore. It's just, am I going to have a normal life?
It's not viral or bacterial or anything. It's just, It's just a body's reaction to something.
Yeah.
That's
It's
frightening.
crazy. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
literally frightening to know that now I know that exists, Maya. So thank you for that.
Ugh, sorry.
Right? No, seriously, right? That is like I didn't even know that was a thing that could be that. Obviously, you had to be a really rare case of it. Like,
Yes, and
but
that
but
was
still.
extremely rare to have, like, we caught it very early, which is something that I'll definitely credit the athletic department as well as my parents and my family who did a ton
Hmm.
of research to bring me to the specialists and the best doctors they could. They were extremely surprised that we were able to cure me enough to play again and things like that. They were just shocked, honestly.
Okay, so how do you get back to having the mindset where you're like, I am going to go ahead and play? I don't know. Did they tell you that like maybe you shouldn't play? Was that a conversation at all?
So no, actually, the conversation was really more around, hey, you could be walking up the stairs and stub your toe and it's going to come back, or you could get in a car accident and break everything and maybe it doesn't come back. There's no, this will make it worse than this. Like,
That's nice. I mean, that's
yeah,
nice to know that it really
yeah,
doesn't matter what I did.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
good.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of what they were saying. And then eventually, the physical therapy, I went like 5 or 6 times a day with my athletic trainer, Gina, who I spent like my entire freshman and sophomore years in her training room. And she just really spent so much time working with me and just trying to get me back to, a normal person. So that even walking and getting out of the boot, I think that was my biggest accomplishment. So
Yeah.
once I got out of the boot, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. We're going to move forward. And so I really credit a lot to her.
Did you make it to every class with your crutches?
Some, thankfully, they're recorded online. It was pre-COVID,
I,
but still I could
oh,
make
there you
them
go.
online.
You got that. Well, I'm a lot older than you, but I remember ripping a tendon, a ligament in my ankle playing basketball, and was on crutches. And I can tell you that I absolutely, and it was January. I'm like, I did not make every. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta walk. I gotta walk a mile with crutches, and it's 2 inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, I'm staying right here. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's hard. So you don't even. This all happens, and you're ready to go for your sophomore season.
So I was on a playing time restriction. I only was able to play, I think, like 15 minutes a half or something like that for the first few games. But also I felt pretty behind because my freshman year, no, I had a great
Mm-hmm.
year. I played all the time. I had the most minutes on the team. And then sophomore year, yes, I was out because I was hurt, but also I don't know if that starting spot would have been mine in the first place. I didn't have the chance to prove myself. And we had a new class come in with really, really good players and great
Yeah.
athletes. So I felt very behind and I started to kind of doubt my place on the team at that point for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the mentality of that, like back, because you earned it back, right?
Yeah, eventually it did come back, but at first, I almost used the injury as a little bit of an excuse, I would
Sure.
say. Like, hey, yeah, obviously I'm not going to be playing. I've been hurt. I haven't been doing anything, which I do think is partially true. Like, it has to
Well,
be.
sure.
It's an excuse, but it's also, hey, this
Well,
is an appropriate
it
cause.
it can be both, right? It
Right.
can be both. It's just the level of it's however much merit we give it or effort.
Exactly.
How much energy we give that idea. Yeah.
hmm And then I kind of framed it to, okay, well, a few months ago
Yeah.
I couldn't even walk. And now I'm subbing in, I'm playing the time I can play. I even started a few games here and there.
Yeah.
So, compared to where I was back then to what I am now, maybe it wasn't where I was at my freshman year, but we're definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah. So anyway, you mentioned earlier that you were like, you decided that you wanted to go to Purdue before you even realized what you wanted to do with your life. But
Yeah.
you go ahead, and I know that you're now an auditor with Ernst & Young, and you're a CPA, and you were an academic All-American. So you must have figured it out pretty quick.
Yes, academic all Big Ten.
That sounds
But
or academic all. Okay,
yeah,
it's close enough, Maya.
close enough.
I
But
got you.
just
I
in
got you.
case of
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So, talk to me about that decision and what you decided to do, and then also really the important part is balancing that with
Yeah.
playing a sport at a Power Five, which is not easy to do.
Honestly, I feel like I'm lucky because academics have always just come easy to me. Like, I've never been the biggest studier there ever was. I just would sit in class and, most of my classes made sense, which is why I felt like, business and accounting was something that I wanted to do. I didn't feel like I had to put so much extra effort in outside catching up on reading materials or going to tutoring sessions because it just made sense in my brain and, accounting. So I actually always did better in season than I did out of season academically wise. And I think that's just because we were on such a strict schedule that it's like, hey, every day, you go to class and then from 3 to 6 p.m., you're at practice and then you're going home. And then you're waking up early for lift the next day. And, oh, it's a travel weekend. So we're going this time to this time. So there's really not time for yourself to think about doing anything other than playing your sport and, performing well in your classes.
Yeah, what's that old expression about idle hands at the devil's workshop, right? Like if
Exactly.
if you're so busy, you just keep going. The second you
Exactly.
give some freedom and you're 19, 20 years old, you're like, yeah, I'll get it. And then
100%. And Purdue also was great. Like, if you needed a tutor for any of your classes, they would find you a tutor. You got priority kind of scheduling to make sure that you could get the classes in the time zone that works with your practices and your lifts. So really just all of that enabled us to focus on our studies. I think our team was also full of a lot of girls that really cared about academics and did not just pick the school for sports, which I think mattered too, because the environment you surround yourself in is really going to help.
oh, it's huge. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching. So I want to get into a little bit about what you did after college, because I know you kept playing soccer, and then how you did, how you take some of your lessons from soccer into your professional life. But I want to go ahead and just really dive into a couple of things while you were playing. Your idea of mental toughness, what that was, how you developed that, if that was an intentional thing, and if you even noticed that when you were playing in college. Just some thoughts on that before we go. I want to have that conversation before we talk about what you did that used some of that. I want to talk about how direct and intentional you were with that when you were in college.
100%. Yeah. So it was kind of crazy for me because my freshman year, I didn't feel like I needed much of it because, I stepped on campus, I played every minute, it was going great. And then my sophomore and my junior years are when I was like, oh, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And that's where it mostly became okay about playing time. And then, as you start thinking about, hey, am I going to get the playing time I want to get? It's okay. Well, then I have to treat every practice as it's like my last. I'm afraid to make mistakes. So some of those thoughts definitely popped up, as well as my parents who came to every single game. Feel bad if they traveled and, I wasn't on the field, like all the time and effort they put in as well. So that started taking, a little bit of place in my head when I was out there on the practice field. And, after a while, when you're just focusing on your sport for so long, it can get a little monotonous. And you're like, okay, here I go to practice again. Here I go to lift again. So I definitely think I had to tune in mentally and say, okay, I'm happy I can even still play my sport. And also, even if I don't play as much as I want to in this specific game, I still made it here. I belong on the team and, there's always room to improve. And at the end of the day, my playing time does not define who I am as a person, which I think I always tied my self-identity to my sport, which is something I had to grow out of
Yeah.
afterwards. But definitely my sophomore, my junior years, and even my fifth year is when I was really challenged, I would say.
Yeah. I work with a fair amount of college athletes, and that is a constant theme is, oh, my parents show up to every game and I don't even get
Yeah.
to play. And it's such a guilt trip sometimes. And it takes a little bit of thought to be able to be like, when you're a kid, you've never been a parent, so you don't understand that they just want to
Yeah.
come see you. Right. And
Mhm.
but it's hard. It's hard. And then when you tie your self-worth
Yeah.
to your playtime, it's
Right.
so hard. It's so hard. And I love that you came out of your injury and then not being able to play as much and looked at that with the idea of gratitude and saying, I still get to play. Because that can go either way. You can be like, hey, I had this injury. I lost my starting spot. This isn't my fault. This sucks. Or you can be like, hey, I'm just so thankful that I can still walk again, that I can play again. And it's the same situation. It's how we choose to view it. And it makes it. I just contend, Maya, that if you had leaned into the negative spin of that, you probably would not have kept playing.
I would agree. I definitely felt both in my brain, like both sides
Yeah.
of,
Oh,
oh,
it's a fight.
this
You
sucks,
gotta.
but yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But it was still the fact that I was like, well, if I was also given the chance to live a normal life when most of the people that have the same injury don't, it's something that I felt like I also wanted to take advantage of for sure.
Yeah. So you finish at Purdue and you decide to go play soccer in say an eastern
Kazakhstan.
bloc, Kazakhstan, okay,
Yeah.
which is an old Eastern, or it's a European,
Yes.
or it's a Russian bloc, one of the, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
the former Soviet Union
Exactly.
blocks,
Former
right?
Soviet
Yeah,
Union. Yes. Yeah.
that's I mean, that's the other side of the world, and
Yeah.
moving, yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked with I've worked with and talked to a lot of players that go and play professional.
Hmm.
My brother did. My brother went and played Europe basketball, and it's not everybody thinks they want to do it, and it's not everything it's cracked up to be.
No, it's not. 100%.
So tell me about your story about doing it, and
Yeah.
just what the first time that you went, oh, this isn't. I'm not in Kansas anymore, and I'm not sure this is a great idea.
Yeah. So I guess I finished school. So thankfully with COVID, we were given a fifth season and I knew I wanted to sit for the CPA. I needed 150 credit hours. So I said, all right, I'm doing my master's. And I graduated a semester early. And my full-time job wasn't supposed to start until October. And here I am in December, done with school. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? And it's always been a dream of mine to play professional soccer. But being an athlete in school, you don't get to study abroad either. So I was like, I would love to
Right.
mix the two. And I've always loved traveling. So I had an agent and he gave me some locations and I was like, Kazakhstan. It's like, I think I know what that is, but like, I don't know what that is. And I looked it up and I thought, all right, let's do it. Because in my opinion, I wanted to go somewhere, not just to play soccer, but also to just learn about the world around me. I mean, Kazakhstan's not a place you're going to go for a week like you could
No.
to anywhere really in Europe, like Italy or Spain. Like,
Right.
it's not that type of place. So I figured that there was no other better way to kind of see the world in a different lens than I currently view it. So I said, let's go for it.
Yeah. Well, and tell me about tell me once you get there,
Yeah.
what,
So I
well,
also knew it was
I don't know
in,
what your expectations were.
yeah,
And
I
yeah.
don't know if I had any, honestly. I was
Well,
like,
that's
I
good.
have no idea what to expect. I'm just going. And I get there. I was under the impression that everybody spoke English or a little bit. No. I was thankful enough that like our team went to Turkey every other month for 2 weeks for training camps. And on my flight, I actually went straight to Turkey and I met one of the other Americans that's still one of my best friends to this day. And we kind of bonded for sure. But we get there and we're like, oh, we're going to need to learn Russian. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just not something, you can pick up. Like, I took Spanish
No.
growing up. Sure, if I was in Spain, I'd be fine. But Russian. Who knew? So we also are, so we're in Turkey, we're at an all-inclusive resort on the beach, super nice fields, living our best life. And then we go to Kazakhstan
Mm-hmm.
and we get to our house or where we live, and the other American and I just sat on the bus. Like, we thought we were dropping someone off, and they're like, oh, this is home. And we're like, this is where we're living? So I think that was like the first, like, oh my gosh, like we are here and we're living, and it was a nice place. It was like dorm style. We just didn't know what, Shymkent, Kazakhstan looked like. And I think that was the first time I was like, okay, I'm actually really doing this. Like, here's my place. This is where I'm living. We'll see what it looks like.
What was it like playing over there? And then what were some of the challenges that you faced over there?
Oh, for sure. So playing over there, it was really fun, and I loved all the girls on the team. Like, we all got along great. It was very different than soccer in college, just because I feel like, especially in the US, a lot is based on athleticism, speed, strength. But where I was, it was, hey, are you technical? What can you do on the ball? Yes, you still need to be fit, but that's not the emphasis, or that's not what we're going to be focusing on in practice. We're really just focusing on moving the ball around and making sure that we're strong technically. So that was a little change, but also coming from a school like Purdue, where you have top facilities of everything, and you have a nutritionist, you have a strength coach, an athletic trainer that's just for your team, and access to any sort of rehab. We didn't have any of that. Like, we would do strength with like sandbags and things and balancing. So all of that was really different.
Yeah, it's that the basketball players that I know that go to Europe, and there's some really good top-notch facilities in Europe, but most of them, they show up and I'm like, your high school probably had more than,
Yes.
Yeah, my brother went over to Denmark and played, and he was like, we used to get kicked off the court because they were having handball practice. And it's like, it's just like, you just never know what the situation was going to be. And you're not, it humbles you a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought it was great too, because, I love soccer. I was not a big fan of, running fitness tests or things like that. I was like, you do what you got to do. But the fact that we didn't have that was nice. It was pretty hard to communicate as well originally. I think we also went through 3 or 4 coaches in one season, which was a new challenge for the team, and each coach would speak a different language. So like, our first coach was Brazilian, and then our second was Kazakh, and then our third was Russian. So we had a few different languages going on, and lots of team members that spoke different things. So I joked that one of my good friends was from Brazil, and each sentence we'd speak had a little Portuguese, a little Spanish, a little English, and a little Russian. That's the only way we could understand each other.
You just figure it out. Yeah, hodgepodge. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So let's start talking about how you transitioned that, because you only did that a year, right?
Yeah.
And then you took up your job with E&Y right then?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fantastic. Talk about, this is the part that I want to talk about, is we always say, and I say we as in our culture or whatever, that athletics are this great, I don't know, proving ground for life. Like, and I believe that so much. I think that we need to be seeing athletics as a way for us to develop skills that prepare us for life, and know that if we're not preparing kids correctly, then they may not face life correctly, right? It doesn't have to happen correctly, right? So we need to be able to really be on top of it. And I say we, as in the coaches and people that are in charge of this, we really need to be paying attention to this stuff, right? And make sure that this is our goal. So I want to hear from you, like, what are the lessons that translate so well, like, that coaches need to be like, this is what you need to be doing because this is what matters?
Time management, I would say, is probably the biggest
Yeah.
one, for sure. Time management and teamwork. I feel like it's when you're entering the workforce, especially right out of university or a few years removed, you're working with people with so many different backgrounds, so many different experiences, different years in industry or whatnot. So it's really important you know how to communicate and just be a part of a team. I think that's probably the biggest one aside from time management, which is just, hey, I have an hour here and then a meeting and an hour here. How do I get my stuff done? Really translated to, okay, my practice is from 3 to 6. I need to finish everything before that and maybe do a homework or two after that. So I think those two are probably the largest that transcended from sports into my professional life.
Yeah, so that time management, like when you're playing at a place like Purdue, how much of that your schedule is dictated, and how much of it is here's your free time to get everything else in?
Yeah, undergrad probably 75% was, hey, this is what you're doing and figure it out. And then you had 25% time to yourself. You had a day off, which was our Monday, so we still had class, and then you still use your day off to go to the training room, get any of the rehab done that you need to do, take care of your body, and then also, oh, well, I need to go grocery shopping, or I have to go running some errands. That's your day to do it. So my grad program, I had only a few classes, and my Tuesdays and Thursdays, I had a 7:15 a.m. class, and then my next class was at 6 p.m. So I had like 12 hours where I could do whatever I wanted to do, which was great. And so I definitely had more open and available time in grad school. But I think just because of how structured my schedule was in undergrad, it helped me prepare for, okay, I'll break it into smaller blocks. And during this time, I'll go to the training room. During this time, I'll go to the grocery store. This is when I'll do my homework. So it just really helped kind of compartmentalize all of that.
Mm. So I'm going to ask a question here, and you can punt this if you want. And I don't need you to give me any kind of names because I wouldn't know them anyway. But I'm curious, when you run into people in the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
can you pick out people that you're like, they did not play a sport, like they can't get it, they don't understand the teamwork aspect?
100%. Honestly, easily too, which is crazy.
Really?
And I say that because most of the people I work with have played sports. It's kind of funny. A lot of our group actually were college athletes, which is pretty cool and, a good way to bond with each other. We know what each other went through, but there are definitely some times where you run into someone that's never really had to communicate before or talk about, hey, this is what I have going on right now. This is what's most important. I need to do this first. Can you help me do something else? Like 100%. You can definitely tell, in my opinion.
It is, and I would tell you that my wife is in the position where she hires people a fair amount, and she will say that, like, when she looks at a resume of somebody coming out of college, she's like, I run into people a lot of times that haven't got any work experience, but if I know they've played a sport for 4 years, she was like, I don't care. She goes,
Yeah.
I know that they have the work ethic, they have the teamwork, and they understand that this translates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so important too, because especially like if it's a high school sport, for example, and you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, you're kind of, taking the back seat. You can help lead, but you're not necessarily a leader by any means yet. You're just getting experience. So you know how to be a
Mm-hmm.
team member, you know how to follow directions and instructions while also learning how to pave your own way. And then once you hit, junior, senior year, that's when you're really given the opportunity to step up and say, hey, like, I know what we have to accomplish. I know what I want to do. So just having that background in sports and rising through the different levels, I think really helps go into your professional life. And hey, this is a new job. I'm going to learn from the people around me. Once I kind of get my feet in and I know what's going on, then I can start saying, okay, I think we could improve doing this way, or I think that this might be a good idea. So it really correlates.
Yeah, it really does, and that's why we need to be paying attention to that stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about. I have two topics I want to talk about whenever we talk about youth and helping young people. And one being, I know that I got your name from Brett Miller, who does the Way of the Warrior, and he said he helps you a little bit. But then I also need you to tell me a story about how you end up in an American Girl doll book.
Yes.
And I don't know if that has any kind of connection at all. And I just want to hear both of those stories and kind of like what you're doing with that, and I just want to hear those stories.
Yeah. So Brett's organization is amazing. He's really just helping, spread the core values of sports and also really focusing on girls and women in sports in the first place, which I think is really important, especially because I feel like it's growing so much, like especially
Right.
soccer, for example. That's just really taken off recently. Gymnastics, softball, all of the sports. And, everyone watches women's sports is what's kind of the going around right now. So I think it's really important that he's trying to develop the next class of leaders. And that's just really going to help people throughout their whole lives. And I know he has workshops that he's doing with various college teams or in the summer for, youth athletes, and just trying to teach them those core values and really how they can go back to their teams or use it later in their life, whether they're a class project leader or a captain on one of their teams, just how to bring everybody together and do things like that. So definitely a super important lesson, like you were saying.
Yeah. And what was your role in helping him there?
I didn't do much. I will say he did the majority of it, really just a soundboard. He'd bounce ideas off of a few of us that were college athletes or high school athletes or used to be athletes in my case, and just say, hey, like, can you guys take a look at this curriculum? Is there anything you would add? And that's really all I've helped with. I'd say he's really, really owned it and has done amazing.
Well, he speaks highly of you and kind of gives you more credit than you're giving yourself, which is fine, because it's really good. It's good to recognize that you're giving back and helping. So, and then why do you end up in an American Girl doll book?
Yes, that was my fun fact. But so growing up, my dad, he was a hockey player and played golf and very into athletics. So that's definitely where we get, the team sport side of things. And my mom is also super athletic, but hers was more so in figure skating. And she became a hardcore yogi. So did a lot of yoga. She said that really, really kind of changed her as a person for the better, and loves doing it. Still will go like 3 or 4 times a week. Eventually actually got her yoga teaching certificate and taught in a local women's jail. Just thought it really helps your mindset, clear everything out, restart your day. And I don't know how American Girl Doll came into it, but they were doing a book on the importance of exercise and how yoga was a really good outlet. And for whatever reason, I was chosen to take some pictures and talk about the importance of yoga.
That's hilarious.
Once I was older, I did want my parents to burn all of them because I was embarrassed.
Oh,
but
how old were these was it when you were doing this?
I feel like I must have been like 9 or 10 or something.
Oh, so was it? Oh, that's hilarious.
It was not recently, no.
No, that's fantastic. It's funny what your parents get you into it. And I'm sure that be honest, you don't still have a copy of it.
My parents have it hidden because they were nervous I would destroy it, but I think they forgot where they hid it. So I guess if they ever move, we'll see.
they're just telling you that, Maya. They've got it.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
They probably do.
So, all right, Maya, we're running short on time here. So my last question, what did I not ask you that I should have? Like, what is the idea that we didn't cover that is, I want to make sure that we talk about?
That's a good one. I feel like the one thing is, with mental toughness, mental strength, is to put yourself in positions to try new things. I know sometimes it's really scary to step outside of your comfort zone, but I think that's where you grow the most. I think going to Kazakhstan was where I really, became a different version of myself, a better version of myself. I was away from all of my family and friends for 9 months. I had to learn a whole new language by myself, adapt to a different culture by myself, and really met some of my best friends there. And it's an experience I wouldn't change for the world, but just something so important to be able to step outside your comfort zone and try new things to challenge you, and also just makes you grow.
So how do you do that now that you're not a quote unquote athlete anymore? That's the great question, right?
No, that is a great question. And fortunately enough, with my job, I'm able to travel a lot. I think I've gone to 11 or 12 countries in the past 2 years. So really just taking advantage of those opportunities and, saying, hey, on the weekend, I'm going to go to a small town over here. I'm going to go explore. I'm going to go hiking or join a little, TripAdvisor tour and meet new friends and things like that.
Yeah. Don't just stay in the hotel room the entire time you're there. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I think that's a great point to be able to do that. So Maya, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been my pleasure having you on the show, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your stories, and I hope that people can take some stuff from this and use it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they can still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great, they're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website, get started on the journey to a more confident, successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching. So as a player, as a coach, as a parent, never dismiss that this is the goal. So Maya, like I said, she got recruited early, went and played Big Ten soccer, and even played a year of pro. But so she's as high end as you can get on her her athletic career, right? Like if right now, if you got a kid playing and you're like, hey, if they could just get recruited and just go play D1 and maybe they'll play pro, like maybe, but that's like really hard. The very low percentage of doing that. But let's say that even they do that, Maya was this high end and really, really good and got the chance to play a little bit of pro. But even that only lasted a total of 5-6 years. And then now she's in the real world. And I had a conversation with Brett Miller, and Brett Miller is actually the guy that introduced me to Maya, and I had him on the podcast, and he talked about that, about the importance of athletics and learning these skills that are transferable to the workforce. It doesn't matter. Like, Maya was a really good soccer player, but it's the skills that she developed from playing soccer that matter when she's in the business, not how many goals she had. Or even the fact that she even played at Purdue, or even got to play a little bit of pro. Like, she would have got the same sort of skill set from playing at a D2 or a D3 or wherever. And that is what we just have to remember, that as we are having them play sports, that it's about the skills they're learning and that mental toughness. And athletics are supposed to be hard. We don't want it to be easy on them, because it needs to be difficult, because that's where we learn those skills and how we face adversity. And I said athletics are adversity. They're this really good practice for life, in the sense that we don't want to win every game. We don't want everything to be easy, because then if everything's easy and we don't make it, if we make it so easy for our kids and we don't challenge them, I mean, life is not going to be so kind, right? Like, life is going to throw things at us, and we have to have practice getting over this adversity. So always be challenging your kids and having them work really hard and face challenges. But then that might be something you say, oh yeah, that's no problem, I do that. But then be okay when they fail, and tell them that that's part of it, and understand that, yeah, you didn't make this team or you didn't win this game, and that's part of it. So we just keep working to get better. And that's what's so important. And I love that Maya said she feels like it's really obvious when that she loved working with colleagues that were athletes, and she just said that they just make better employees. And I agree, and I think that that's why we need to make sure that kids are staying in sports, and that's one of the reasons I do what I do, is we need to make it a place that they want to be there and they want to be challenged, and that's good, but we can't have it so much so that they don't want to play, and it is a fine line sometimes. So that's why the positivity matters so much, right? We can put them in really tough situations, but we have to be positive about that failure and that struggle, and hey, this is okay, we're going to get better, versus making them feel like they're failures and it's not worth it, and don't make it any fun whatsoever, and so they can go and enjoy it, so they quit. Then you're not getting any of the goals. So it's just something to constantly be thinking of, about what is the end result. And the end result is not winning a championship. The end result is helping develop just a well-rounded, tough-minded individual and human, right? That's our goal. So I love talking to Maya, because I think that's what she is, and I think that's where she got it, is from playing all that soccer. So great conversation. I love talking to her, and just really enjoy. So if you're listening to this and you know some people that fit that description, by all means, shoot me an email, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and kind of suggest it. And I'd love to talk to them. So thanks for joining. Again, hit that like button, hit that share button. The more you can share it, the better. I really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. It helps me out. It helps the business. And I really appreciate that. So, but we're out of time now. So this has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and always remember to forge your metal. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your metal.